Hey everybody, it's me, Mr. Anderson, the voice of Written Sins. Really quickly, we're just going to go over some site enhancement changes and the current state of our site. I wrote a long list of things that we're going to quickly go over as quick as I can. First off, I'd just like to say, as of recording this, it is July 4th, so happy birthday, America. There is certain things that I just wanted to go over with everyone. It's been a while since I actually touched base with you guys, and I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know what was going on with the site. Because I say it all the time, it's not just my site, but it's your site as well. So let's get into some of the changes that are coming to WrittenSins.com soon. I call it growing pains. A year later, our network has changed since creators WrittenSins.com has launched. And as you know, we change with the trends and needs of the sinners, creators, and fans of the network. Consider this it's supposed to be our state of the network address, because we're not just a site, but we're a network. Contests will continue. Okay, you guys wanted the contest. I didn't think anyone wanted them anymore. It kind of got to the point where people were winning and weren't even doing anything with it, so that kind of sucked. It felt like I was wasting my time. You guys said you wanted it, so I looked at it, and I decided that maybe it was how I was doing it. Maybe it was my fault. So I've gone ahead and I've changed a few things. One of the things that I changed right away was the actual splash page will now go to me. I will be making the choices of who wins the splash page. I will announce July's winner tomorrow, and I will be giving myself August's. I already won it 1 month, and I had given it up for someone I thought more deserving. This was kind of messy because I don't think that it was necessarily heading in the right direction when everyone was getting involved, because I think they were missing the point. The splash page is meant for people who are contributing to our community in a positive manner, and it's not meant to be a popularity contest. And that was one of the things I didn't like about the contests. I know a lot of people wanted the contest. It was something that was requested of us, but I never liked contests. I always thought contests put fan bases against each other. It was the opposite of what I was trying to do with the Written Sins and all that. I wanted it to be an even-killed platform, and I really hated that there was this popularity contest going on. So I always thought that there should be people who should get recognized for the things they do. We did a great first year with it. And then this year we stumbled a couple times. And I think part of that was because I gave the vote to people. And I think people were getting chosen that I wouldn't have necessarily chosen at that point. Not hating on anyone. I'm not saying anyone wasn't deserving. I'm just saying that there were people that I think maybe weren't ready for it, or maybe just wasn't right timing. So I want to be more involved with it. Now, to equalize it and keep it just being my choices, everyone who's now part of the Written Sins network, the contributors and the authors, will get a say starting this fall. That means in September, they're going to be voting for who they think it should be, because it'll be the people who are running the site. The only reason I don't do it right now is I want a little bit of time. The reason I'm going to be winning August is because one of my friends said this to me. He said, I don't understand why you don't put yourself in those contests. And the one time you did, when you won, you gave it away. If Written Sins is going to be taken seriously and you're doing it as a journalistic thing at times, like you do, I mean, we have fun with the site too, but the point was that we do cover things from a capacity that's much different. So someone had said, well, if you're going to do that, if you're going to cover the site the way you're covering it, isn't what you're doing newsworthy? Shouldn't you have it? August is my birthday month. I guess I do belong. A couple people have mentioned it to me over the months that I should be. I was never going to give it to myself by myself, but I can't argue the point that by showcasing what I'm doing, maybe it'll inspire other people to do the same thing, and maybe telling part of my story will inspire people. Hoping that's what does it. It's not meant as an ego trip. I really hope no one take it as I just put myself there. This is because people have actually said that. But I mean, everything changes over time, and I mean, a lot of you guys respect what I do, so I guess that there's a valid point that if I'm not covered as a story, at least in that regard, how can anyone take me serious if my own site won't take me serious? Is kind of the idea of the point that my friend was making, and I respect him for saying it, and I really do appreciate them having that faith in me. So I will get the splash page in August. Contests are completely changing in the regards to how we're going to be handling them. So, okay, the artist spotlight will now require the artist to enter a single piece of art to be judged upon. That means the artist can only join on their own. You cannot put an artist there. The artists themselves have to enter a piece of art to be considered. Now, if it is necessary, and there's a lot of artists that join and a lot of artists have a lot of different votes, we will take the top 4 and have a runoff vote on WrittenSins.com. The reason that this would be done is because sometimes people only vote for one person, or this or that, and there could be a detractor if friends are voting for friends on the lower tiers and people are putting votes away. I want to have the artist win a clean battle, and that's what they do with speaking of July 4th, that's how we do it with our government. A lot of people start to be the president, and then we have the end where there's like 3 or 4. So there'll be a top 4 runoff if I deem it necessary. Necessary will be a good amount of voting, and voting that I think will change and matter if we do a top 4. Now, remember, in Facebook, I never make it so you can't vote for more than one, so that's going to be the determining factor, and it's not a guarantee. You're just going to have to trust that I'm doing the best thing I can for the people involved. And that's what it's going to come down to, respecting the artist's time and energy that they put into it. I do think getting showcased will matter. What we'll do for those who are showcased is we will share their work once a week, and not just on our site, but we'll deliberately go out of our way to make sure that we share their work throughout a week through all the different people who are on our site, and also through social media. We'll make an effort to do a video about it. We'll showcase it in a grander fashion to make sure people take note of it the best we can. So that'll be interesting change to the artist spotlight. So we'll also try to get them to do a Spoken Sins. I know I've been bad with Spoken Sins. I apologize for that. That's my back. I can't really control that. I do the best I can with that. I hate being on videos where I don't feel good. I've heard them with the Kickstarter talk, because I always do Kickstarter talk no matter what. And I've heard how horrible I sounded, and it actually depresses me. So I try not to get on here when I'm in too much pain. Because the reason it depresses me is not because I sound like I'm in pain, because I don't sound excited about someone's work. And I always want to sound excited. I don't want to hear anyone talking about my work in a monotone fashion. So when I'm in pain, I know I sound very monotone, and I start to growl and get a very deep voice. So that's why I want to change that. Just checking in, make sure no comments were made. I guess I can see the comment screen, but I was double checking. So that's how that's going to happen. Now, the spinner rack, the exciting change with the spinner rack. So we were just voting on one comic book, and it was kind of weird that we did it that way. And, there was so much energy put into it. So I wanted it to be more exciting when we relaunch it this month. So going forward, the top 3 comic books that win the highest amount of votes will all get showcased in this brilliant thing that we'll do for the entire month. The entire month, we'll be sharing it on and off. We'll be mentioning it. It'll make the Kickstarter talk program where we'll talk about it. We'll try to mention it in as many videos as we do. We'll share it on social media. We'll make it a big deal. Those 3 will get pushed. And I know we push a lot of things on our site, but we do have to limit the exposure we do on social media, especially Facebook, which unfortunately ties our hands and does not allow us to share as often or as much as we might want. That's Facebook. Then Twitter doesn't work the way it used to, because now there's algorithms. There's people trying to stop things getting shared. So by winning this contest, you become a primary focus. Those 3 comics will be a focus of ours to make sure that we mention and get out there. So there'll be a point to being part of this, and it's bigger than it was before, because not only do you have yours, but by being with 2 other creators, then sharing it with their market after they win will only help you get to new markets, and that's what WrittenSins is about. We're about helping each other and expanding each other's reach. Sorry, I had to just check on Jax. He disappeared on me for a moment. So that's what that's going to be about. And I'm sorry that this looks boring for those watching the video. I do apologize, but these are kind of important things I want to make sure I'm paying attention to so we can actually go through it, because I do want to talk about it all. So that's the spinner rack and how that's going to change. Due to the Comic-Con season, I am pushing the creator cards back until next year. We're gonna launch date is probably going to Kickstarter, maybe in January. As everyone knows, the creator cards are going to become a comic book, and we're going to sell them at tables. I just don't have I don't want to do it where it's rushed. The first series, I didn't mind when we were rushing them. I didn't mind when they weren't perfect because they were all prototypes and they worked really well. I would have gotten more on it, but unfortunately, as most of you know, I had that back incident and it kind of threw me, and I'm not going to make excuses. Things just piled up. It is what it is. So I want to give it the credit it deserves. As everyone knows, I'm very busy with Jax the Anderson, the Kickstarter right now. There's a lot of things coming from that. So to be fair, I just wanted to say we have not stopped the creator cards. They are coming, and they are going to be for 2018 Comic-Con season. Hopefully earlier the better. Stay tuned for more on that. I just wanted to give you an update. It hasn't been forgotten at all. We're still doing the creator card magazine. That is coming. And it's not going to be a comic book. It is going to be a magazine size. We've decided to go bigger to give more room. So it will not be a comic book. You guys will have a magazine size. There was some confusion about that. It will not be a comic book size. It will be a magazine format. So that is coming in 2018. The Comic-Con roadmaps are going to be, our new feature is going to be a feature now. We have prototyped it this year. We had tried it out. It has worked wonderfully. The reason I'm mentioning this, if you guys know that you're going to do something in 2018, start giving it to me now. I don't care if you give me something in 2019. We're not going to change those lists. Potentially those lists are just going to be those lists. I like Opinion Stage. As long as Opinion Stage doesn't have an issue, we will be using Opinion Stage going forward. So just like the Kickstarter list, I mean, guys, if you take the Kickstarter list and you put it on your page and you share it once a week it's updated. So every week you're sharing something that's brand new. I mean, of course, you can use the newer links if you want to. And I know Facebook after a time might consider something spam because Facebook's full of shit with certain things it does. And it's very upsetting when they do the things they do because, I mean, they just don't at all remember their roots, in my opinion. And they they sell our information. They're happy to use us as a marketing tool, but then they get mad when we want to use a social media platform for marketing. It is what it is, though, and that's just, there's not much more we can say for it. Jack just got out his chicken. I got to close the refrigerator door, so if I got to sound like I'm far away, that's why. Go ahead, baby, have your chicken. So, going forward, just give me a second. I want to give him some ketchup. Baby, here's your ketchup. Here you go, Jackson. So going forward, we are doing the creator cards, the Comic-Con roadmap. All that's going to be done. Leave it closed. You don't need it open. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to bribe the Jaxie with some candy. Oh, no. Are we out of candy? Oh, no. We got candy. Parenting 101. Always bribe your kid with candy. Sorry about that, guys. I am back. So, yeah. Now, while we're talking about the roadmap to Comic-Cons, one of the things that we wanted to expand, and we haven't done a great job about it yet, because I wanted to build in these other features that now all make sense, is our virtual Creators Alley. Now, that will continue very big into 2018. I think I launched it a little too soon. I had the roadmap to roadmap to Comic-Cons in mind. There were a lot of things I wanted to do. Then at the moment, at the very beginning, I just didn't know how to get. So the virtual alley didn't make as much sense as it's going to make in the next coming year. With creator cards coming out, there's just, the site is really growing into what it was supposed to be. And I'm very thrilled that we have gotten that. Sorry. Hold on. Back spasm. Oh, that hurts. Okay, so deep breath. Sound like I'm pregnant. So we are going to bring back the table section. Now, a few final things about this, and we'll be done. And then if you guys want to talk about something else, we can talk about something else. Maybe I'll come back on because Jax is walking around and being, you know, a 2-year-old. A few final notes. The rumors are true. WrittenSins was not sold. Oh, that's not even right. We got to fix that because I don't want it to go to some weird site. Just going to edit it while we're on the thing here. WrittenSins was, okay, acquired. Let's put it that way. Because it wasn't sold. I didn't sell it. As you know, my wife runs Sinsful Comics. She's taken on the burden of the cost of running the site. How does that sound? So now the costs of running WrittenSins go on. They're going to be part of a line of Sinsful Comics. Because Sinsful Comics is going to be using it for advertising and getting their information out like most of you guys are doing. It just made sense to incorporate that as an advertising thing, which is legal. So that's how that's going to be happening. And there are some other things of being an LLC and all that good stuff. So the trade-off is that I still run the site indefinitely. It's my choice to leave when I want to leave. I make sure to put that in because you never know if my wife wanted to sell Sinsful Comics down the road. WrittenSins has the option to break off for free. I can just take it. So even if Sinsful Comics took off, I can break it apart on my own. I don't have to pay for anything to own it. It's nothing like that. It's always going to be my creation. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, and I didn't really talk about this, and I'm just going to go back up here because I apparently, okay, and this is something I want to talk to you guys about, just so everyone knows. In 2018, you guys are going to start hearing me talking about finding my successor to WrittenSins. I want to drop back and let another creator rise and take over WrittenSins. They're going to become the new Mr. Anderson for WrittenSins. This is a 2-year program, and it's going to be something I hope to become a legacy of WrittenSins. It's not that I think I'm bigger than WrittenSins. It's not that I think I'm too big for WrittenSins. It's nothing like that. It's just I know that the experience has forever changed my life. And the minute that I created this site, I knew that it was something that was going to be powerful and it was something that should be shared. With that said, I am never going to walk away from WrittenSins. Unless somehow it gets sold and bought by someone else, I will always have my hand in it as long as I live and as long as it runs. I just might not be heard as much in the decision-making of it. Look at it this way. I would become, in a sense, to the site, a CEO. A CEO you don't hear from much. You hear more from the CFO, which is the chief COO, not the CEO, but the COO, which is the chief operating officer. They're the ones who make all the decisions and things come from them, and you get the big memo from the big boss every so often. The reason this is going to be done is to give someone the experiences I've had. They have been life-changing, getting to know you creators. And I do think that it will help an up-and-coming creator. And I want to share that with someone else. I want someone else to become the voice of it. Now, this is not happening in 2018 where suddenly I'm going to be off the site. This is going to be a slow process. The person who were to succeed me, as long as we find the right candidate, and I'm sure the right candidate's out there, the person who will succeed me will bring the values I've brought to WrittenSins, and I will be around to make sure of that. So this might be a changing, think of it like this, Vince McMahon still runs WWE. You might see Daniel Bryan, you might see Shane McMahon, you might see Stephanie McMahon, but I assure you, Vince McMahon is firmly in control of the WWE. That's where we're at with that. So that's what it'll wind up being. However, as my successor takes over, his ideas will be taken seriously. He will get to change things as he sees fit. As long as they don't affect how you creators and the fans are being treated, the changes are fine by me, as long as he's reflective, or she, because there's no reason it can't be a woman. Whoever they are have to respect you guys like I respect you guys and adore you like I adore you. That would be the only thing I ask. Now, speaking of that, so WrittenSins takes a lot of energy and effort, and some of you guys have noticed when I get hurt, things slow down a little bit. I've had some great creators join on, and they've been, we got Hershey who just came on. Hershey Studios is helping us out. We have a new contributor just starting today. Little strongly opinionated. We even had to give it the, this does not necessarily say what we are, but I thought, you know, sometimes it's okay to have them. So they're a contributor. We have Melissa who contributes. We have Lee who contributes. Excuse me. We got a whole bunch. I got more people joining every day. We just had bodybuilder, and I forget if they have their names out there. That's why I'm being coy with names. I do know the names behind the nicknames. I just don't remember who wanted to be anonymous and who didn't. I know who they are. I know all their Facebook pages. I know the person behind the nickname, but sometimes they just want to use the nickname, which I don't mind the anonymity. So that, I mean, we could always use help. We could use, look, I mean, you want to be an editor on the site, you do that. You want to give art to the site, you want to do that. Anything I can do, because it's remember, this is our, this is Indie Comic Books site. And I've always said that this is like indiecomic.com, if you would, because it supports indie comics so much. And it doesn't go with a caste system. It doesn't go with the popularity system. You don't have to know anyone. I rarely say no. The few times I have said no were due to political propaganda. I won't allow political propaganda on our site. I won't allow straight out lewd images, and it's not lewd the way you think. I don't want to say what it was. I've told a few people in person what it was. It went way too far on a more moral fiber, and that kind of stuff's not going to show up on the site. And then the third thing that's not going to show up is things you don't own. There are a few companies that use things without licensing rights, and I won't support them nor share their work. I'm not talking about fan art. I'm talking about people who actually make something without licensing, such as, just not saying this is what it was, but just throwing it out there, like a set of shot glasses with Marvel characters on it. That will not be something that we share. The rest we do, so we're here to support each other. We're here to help each other. Any help that we get with running the site, it includes sharing. My good friend Alex had asked me recently how he could help my site, and he was asking about learning coding and all that. And I was like, dude, honestly, the hardest thing for me is getting it out there sometimes on Facebook, because I get so much content, I can't share it all some days. It's just impossible to be on the site. And I'd like to have it hit harder on the site. So sometimes even just going and sharing something that you saw from our site during the day and giving it to your audience that I might not have reached yet is a giant help. That's what I need. That's the kind of consistent help we need on our site. We also need people giving a different point of view. I always say this, WS the Reaper, who runs our site, as all you guys know, and myself, for some reason, have a very strong and similar sounding opinions on certain things. Who knows why? So when other creators are getting involved and giving different point of views, it's very healthy for the site. The site needs more than just me. And even when I have my successor, I'll always have my opinions on there about the things I like and I don't like. You guys might have noticed that we dropped off a little bit with doing some reviews. I kind of said no to a few people about reviews because of my schedule and because I'm still getting my reviewers in line. We will be relaunching our reviewer section a bit more. We're opening it. I shouldn't say redoing it. We're just opening to do reviews in the fall. Because it's Comic-Con season, I don't want anyone's book getting forgotten about. I already have 3 I still have to get to. And one of them is just monstrous. So it's taking me forever to get through it. Anyone who has a 2-year-old will understand that even reading something as short as a comic book can become challenging, because it's not that you can't find the time. It's that every time you think you can read it, the 2-year-old can sense that you're doing something and they need to bother you. I love my son, so I'll take the bother, but it also, you know, that's why I like, and I say this all the time, if you guys give me a comic book I can have in my hands, I can walk around with it. It's harder to walk around with a computer, especially when your son wants to press every button on the computer. And on the phones, they're impossible to read comic books. I won't read comic books on my phone if I don't have to. But that has been the basic idea, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I haven't done this in a while. We used to do this a lot more. Where we used to go over every version of change to the site, and we just change the site too often now and add updates to do that. And it's just a sign of our growth, and it's a wonderful thing that we've gotten to this point. And I mean, I got the hugest compliment recently when someone says, wow, your site actually looks professional. Like, people actually know what they're doing. And it was like, wow. I mean, I know it sounds rough, but if you really think about it, someone's telling you that your site looks real and like official and it's not a blog. So I used to get that a lot. Oh, you know, Rob runs that small little site. Rob runs, you know, WrittenSins. They do those little things. They're that little niche market. And to hear, and this was just someone who looked at the phone in front of me at a convention, called it up and was like, wow. I had someone, I'll tell this story on Facebook. YouTube, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm going to let you go because on YouTube, this was the state of the site address. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me at writtensins.com. That has been the state of the site. Look forward to our next video. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our main website, along with our Facebook group and page.